Hello there, everybody. Hello there, everybody. We got our radio guys going. We got the video guys going. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, on this beautiful, beautiful May Day. What is it today? May the 8th, May the 9th, something like that. May the 9th. Hey, days run into each other when you're here all the time. Believe me. One day just rolls into the other. As I look at Rick Rose, Rick Rose event we're having June 7th down at Taps. Street dedication to Rick Rose. Gonna have bands at Taps playing. There's gonna be giveaways and everything else. It should be a fun day. So you got to get down to the Taps at about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and we'll start up with bands. Have the dedication to Rick Rose at 6:30. Of course, they're naming a street, part of Queen Street, after Rick Rose for all he did for the community. And the giveaways are going to be part of that. And of course, you can get great food at Taps. And it's just going to be a fun day. I can't wait. It's going to be fun getting all revved up for that one. And hopefully we get a day like today. Just a beautiful, beautiful day out there. It's going to warm up nicely as we move through May and into June. We're only a month away from that event. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, before we get to anything, because we got lots to get to, got a lot of viewer comments. I've got just a lot of information to talk about in Niagara Falls surrounding area and around the world. That's what we do here at Your City, Your Voice. When we get into it, we get into it. A lot of people don't agree with us. Well, not with us, with me. It's only my opinion. The station has nothing to do with my opinion, and neither does anybody else who has a show on this. On 4680Q. This is all me. So if you're going to blame anybody, blame me. But parental advisory. There's a parental advisory. Explicit content on my show. Okay, so let's get into our sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. I'm going to have a sip of water before we go. Don't ask me why. As soon as I get outside, all the pollen, everything flying around in spring, I start to get choked up. Or is it just because I'm in the studio and I love doing this so much? Either way, you take it the way you want. Anyway, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You know, today I got my air conditioning on in my car. Yeah, that's what I do. And, you know, yesterday I had the heat on. That's how we roll. But you know what's coming. It's going to be nice weather. You got to get those summer tires off. You got to get your car checked out. I mean, you're going to be driving around in summer. You're going to be driving around all over the place. And the last thing you want to do is have your car break down. You don't want that because your wife and your kids are going to be yelling at you and you're going to look like a schmuck. So what do? You look like a hero. You take your car to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You let him go through it with a fine-tooth comb. He's going to find any error codes on your computer, and he's going to look at your brakes, your systems, your fluids, everything to make sure everything is running right for the summer. Now's the time to do it. Get to be proactive rather than reactive. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. If you get in a wreck, get your car there. He's got a full body shop. He will take your car in, wrecked, and send it out the door in showroom condition. How are you going to beat that? Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Go give Ken Hunter a call today. Get your car in, be proactive. Okay, let's go into viewer comments because I had a lot of comments. I did a little thing about Councillor Mike Strange getting in a bit of trouble there. It was in the news and everything. So I'm not reporting anything that isn't there. So don't get all upset. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just telling you what it said. But I did have some comments. And a lot of comments on Facebook postings of this show, but the overall attitude was that he is guilty and should step down immediately. People think he's guilty and should step down. I didn't quite take that angle, but at 881, like, here's my issue with Mike Strange's account of hitting a lady. Sure, Paul, you say he should step down till he's found guilty or innocent. These cases could last over a year. And to what cost to taxpayers? He should step down until the trial. He was fast to take Carolyn Iannoni's pay 3 times when he was counselor. He still is counselor. And if you remember what happened with Carolyn Iannone, Integrity Commission reports and everything else that went along with that, and she was suspended for a while. And she had to couldn't collect while she was suspended. Why is this clown special? I promise everyone this council will bury this, and if and when they do shame on the staff and three ladies on council. Shame on you, Mike Strange. If it's true, you're disgusting. And I can understand somebody being upset about this. Hitting a woman is right up there with child abuse and everything else. Um, I get the outrage. I mean, that's assaulting a woman is not good. But at the end of the day, I also believe in the axiom innocent until proven guilty. And I have to think that's a tenet of our society that we should adhere to. As far as council burying it, well, I think it's a little bit late for that. It was all over the newspapers, all over the news. So it's not like you can bury it now. It's pretty well in the public domain. And this show, along with others, will be asking questions constantly to ensure it doesn't get forgotten because we want to know what's going to happen here. So I get why you're outraged. I'm going to say innocent until proven guilty. Extenuating circumstances. I wasn't there. I really don't know what happened. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, a woman was assaulted. Cops were called. She was given treatment for her injuries, and the police arrested the perpetrator, who was Mike Strange. I mean, all that is tough to deny. There's no falsehoods. That was what was reported. So he's out on like a bail. He's got a restraining order against him. I mean, boy, oh boy, I know it's tough to say there may be circumstances, but I mean, the evidence is right there and it's public and everything else. Iceman69 says it could be an argument and she could have went nuts and he hit her defending himself. Lots of variations of SH blank T, but depending on the CIS, depending on I don't know what the heck that was. They will 80% charge the guy and let the courts decide. Oh, depending on the cops, they will 80% charge the guy and let the courts decide how it works out. You've seen it a few times before. Iceman 69 maybe want to hear the story both sides. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, Iceman. When it comes to matters like this, unless I witnessed the event, I was there, I really can't say what happened. I mean, it looks bad with the cops charging him, but at the end of the day, innocent until proven guilty is the way you have to kind of look at it. And everybody can be mad and everything else. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's how it works. That's how it works. Innocent until proven guilty. And then 881 Slick responded to Iceman, how is just walking away from hitting a woman a hard choice? Not a thing in the world justifies a so called boxer hitting a small lady. And I mean, valid point. Valid point. Get mad, but you get really mad, but you just walk away because you can't do that. To which the Iceman replied, I had one a long time ago that wouldn't let me walk away until the cops came and put her on the ground. Like I said, let's see what the courts have to say. So there's an ongoing back and forth about this, varied perspectives, and I don't think anybody is wrong. I don't think anybody is wrong. Gary has 881 Slick. Everybody knows who that is. He's right. I mean, this is something that you can't just let go. And the other side of the coin, Iceman 69 is, well, you know what? There may be circumstances that we're not privy to, that haven't been printed, that we don't know about, that may come out in a court trial. So me, I haven't liked some of Mike Strange's bullying on city council, especially towards Lori Lococo, his attitude. But I still stay with the innocent until proven guilty, and the rest I hear is assumption, assumption, conjecture, and rumor. In the review, Mike Strange said I'm innocent. But everything that happened previous to him saying I'm innocent points to something happened, and nobody is above the law. Going with 881 Slick's comment, I would expect that Strange should step down as counselor. I mean, I think the mayor should advise him to be honest with you. There's too many groups that are tied to violence against women appearing at city council looking for help. We see so many of them come in. Council and staff support those causes. I think it would be really tough to, no matter how much they like Mike, sitting there not feeling uneasy with him around, knowing this stuff. I mean, it just would kind of be weird. Some members of council may even be on the boards of these different causes that support women and denounce violence against women. I think everybody on city council has definitely denounced violence against women at some point of their career on council. I mean, I can't see them favoring it. Let me put it that way. So that would put them directly against what Mike is alleged to have done. And let me stress that alleged. Alleged. He's not guilty. He hasn't been found guilty. I think at this time, Strange would be getting advice that tends towards either taking a leave of absence or totally stepping down and counsel until this is settled. Either way, I agree with 881 Slick in that his pay as counsel should be suspended. If he steps down or takes a leave of absence, I mean, if you take a leave of absence because of a health issue or something like that, like Wayne Campbell did, that's fine, right? But if it's of your doing and it's a criminal charge that's been levied against you, it's alleged, but I mean, geez, I don't know. It just would be hard. Anyway, this is to be continued. There's going to be more comments. There's going to be more on Monday. I'll give you any more that pop up. I'm sure there will be comments from the gallery, and some may be in favor and defense of Mike, or some may be against them or be against them. But we'll take a look at them on my Monday show, Manic Monday. Only a couple days away. How about that? I always seem to be the purveyor of bad news on this show. I don't know why. Everything's like kind of negative when you listen to me. I mean, I try to have common sense and give my opinion on it. But here's a good news story. And I'm happy to tell you about it. And that's a city employee and volunteer firefighter who was awarded the fire chief's coin for demonstrating an act of bravery or outstanding service within the community. On March 13th, JT Mills, he's the guy who got the award, was driving down Dorchester Road, headed back to the city yard on Stanley Avenue when he came upon the scene at Casey Street, where a man was lying on the ground with people standing around him. Mills stopped his truck and got out to help. He assumed the man was hurt. He saw the man was in distress and began CPR while his co-worker called 911. Mills kept the man alive with CPR until Niagara Emergency Medical Services arrived and took over from Mills, administering breathing apparatus. By the time JT left the scene, the man had a strong pulse and was breathing on his own. Now, JT Mills went above and beyond to save a man's life that day. That's a great news story in Niagara Falls. There are still people here that will come to your aid if necessary. The quick thinking and knowledge of what was needed to save a life did exactly that on March 13th, and JT Mills' selfless act to help a person in distress is a credit to the community and a credit to the city, a credit to everybody. Mills was also recognized by CAO Jason Burgess as part of the municipality's Gold Star Employee Program, which honors city workers that go above and beyond their job requirements. So a big round of applause for JT Mills. I'm not sure exactly who he is. I've never met him, but good for him. God bless him. He did a great thing, saving somebody's life. And there are still good people and good stories left in Niagara Falls, and this is proof of it. So there you go, a good news story right from the heart. Good for him, JT Mills. If you ever see him working for the city on the street or something, I don't know who he is, but if I should find out if I ever see him, I'm going to thank him for being a credit to the city and helping save somebody's life. Okay, How about another whatever happened to story? There's a lot of things that we see on a daily basis in the review. That's usually where I get most of my news from the review. Great writers like Grace Pateri and John Law and Allison Langley and Ken Sawchuk and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, that's where I get most of my news stories, and then I go from there. Of course, some of them I just go by what I see on city council and that. But the whatever happened to story that I was interested in came up again. And you remember a couple years ago, there was a condo that collapsed in Welland. Now it collapsed one day, and then about a week later, another section of it collapsed. And of course, fingers were being pointed all over the place: engineering, city supervisors, planning. Everybody was getting a finger pointed at them. Well, something has come out of it finally. A professional engineer was fined $15,000 after pleading guilty to one count of endangering workers in relation to the partial collapse of the building. All right, that's a good thing. Alpert Turan, along with Kyler Jones, were charged last August by the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development under Ontario's Occupational Health and Safety Act as professional engineers. They did as a result of advice negligently or incompletely given, endanger a worker or workers at a workplace. Turan pleaded guilty. Jones' next appearance in court is July 31st. Turan did not appear in court, but entered a guilty plea previously. Now, that offense is not a criminal offense in nature. It's more like a fine. They fined him, so it's not a criminal charge. It's a fine. First collapse occurred on February 18th, 2023, with the second collapse on February 26th, 2023. The site was closed after the second collapse to ensure structural integrity for a ministry investigation and a return of workers. It appears Turan undercalculated the structural load for a beam connection, which precipitated the collapse. The $15,000 fine was on the low end of possible fines, and that was due to Turan's pleading guilty early in the investigation. Could have been a very long trial, carrying it on and on. He pleaded guilty, cut it short. He said that it was an error on his part, nothing more than that, nothing sinister. Turan approached the minister long before the trial and said he wanted to resolve the matter and displayed remorse for the error he made. So that's why he got the minimum $15,000 fine and no charges or anything else. And nobody was injured in it, by the way. Joyce Morocco, the contracted mouthpiece for EverTrust, said that construction on the site was progressing and residents are expected to be able to move in this November. The building is sold out, and company owner Dr. Ted Jianchang Zhu planned to keep several units aside for himself. So he's going to live there. He's confident that the building is structurally sound at this point. And I'd have to say this is probably one of the safest buildings around right now. The ministry has been investigating and basically supervising the build. They've been there for every step. I would imagine the engineers and contractors were on a very short lead after the two collapses. I think the people living there will be very safe at this point. So I think it's okay. I think they've done a bang-up job investigating this, figuring out what happened, fixing the problems. And because they're on a short leash, everything's going to be checked and double-checked and triple-checked at this point. I mean, they're not going to get away with anything. So it should be safe for anybody who's going to live there. I would have questioned it before, but I think now that it's gone through all these investigations and that, I don't think you have to worry at this point. Now, Zhu's company is the subject of a $10 million lawsuit filed by residents living in Upper Vista, Niagara Falls, a 150-unit, 10-story condominium project at the end of Green Vista Gate. And I think that's around the Thundering Waters, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think it is. Filed in 2022, the lawsuit claims internal failures of the system because The building wasn't built properly. Okay. So they're claiming that this building wasn't built properly and there's a problem with it. I don't know if I'd be living in that one. And then subsequently, he builds another one and it collapses. We'll see what that lawsuit comes back as. See what that lawsuit happens with that one. Filed in 2022, it's 3 years ongoing. We'll see what happens if there's ever a report on it. That's going to be another one of my whatever happened to shows for sure. Thanks to Dave Johnson, a Welland based reporter with the Welland Tribune, for that story. And we thank all the writers to review, report on these things, and give them back to the public and let us know what's going on. Now, I'm going to get into city council in a minute. But first, I want to talk about my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And if you want a great pizza, you have to find a place that's consistent, that uses fresh ingredients and knows how to make a pizza. Pizza's an art. You can't just make a pizza, throw a bunch of sauce on a hunk of dough and throw it in the oven. It's got to be made right. That means you have to use good sauce, and they use the Mancini family recipe for sauce. Good crust, the Mancini family recipe for crust. It's been around 40 years, tried and true. And also, you got to have the right ratio of beautiful, they use Saputo mozzarella mixed with brick cheese. You got to have that cheese on the pizza in the right ratios to the sauce. You don't want the cheese to overwhelm the sauce. You don't want the sauce to overwhelm the cheese. It's got to be done right. And then you top it with any fresh ingredients you like. That's a good pizza. And if you see cornmeal on the bottom, to me, that's a great pizza. That's how they do it at Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. But they're not a one-hit wonder here. They make fantastic wings. They make fantastic poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak subs. They have a full menu. Panzerati, you name it, they have a full menu for you. Whatever you want, you're going to be able to find at Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and they know how to do it right. How do you get a hold of one of these beautiful pizzas? Well, you dial 905-374-2222 or go to petespizzavictoria.ca. You can order right online. Not a problem. Easy peasy. Get a Canadian. That's my favorite. Also, you can call Skip Dash, all those other ones there. They have them all. No problem. Pete's Pizza, Victoria Avenue. Give them a call. You're going to be happy you did. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And I appreciate everybody supporting the businesses that support the show and support the city. And while you're in there going to their website, don't forget, if you're watching the video, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, notification button. We're almost up to 130 subscribers now. It costs you nothing to subscribe. You get notifications when I drop a video. I'm dropping videos on Rumble and X now as well. So you can get it at YouTube, Rumble, or X. The videos are all on there. You can watch it anytime you want. And you'll get a notification saying that the video has been dropped. So fantastic, and I thank you very much. I appreciate every one of my viewers, every one of my comments. I love it. Keep it going. Let's go. We got to get more. We want to get involved in the next election in the city. We got a year and a half to get enough people in there to really, really get a conversation going and get people interested and get people to go out and vote. Because that's the important part. Okay, so City Council. It's really great to have Vince Kerrio back on council. It really, really is. Here's a guy that's qualified to sit on council in a tourist-driven town because he totally understands the dynamics involved in a tourist town. Being in the business himself for many years, running a multi-million-dollar corporation, and being a local guy all his life with his family also working and living in Niagara Falls, his father being an MVP for many years, Vince has a perspective few other residents that would bother to be on city council has, and I thank him for it. Point in case. Well, Councillor Triple F, Mona Patel, was cautioning council not to approve builds on Lundy's Lane, which converts old motels to permanent full-time living residences. Councillor Kerrio got up and explained the whole situation to Patel and the others. He went into the dynamics of what he called old-style motels, They just don't cut it anymore. And we can see that because every old style motel on Lundy's Lane has become a broken down mess. So we actually see that happening live. This isn't made up. He knows. Oh, look at this. We have a contingent going over to Grand Central. Look at all these people. Wow. Must be a hockey tournament or something in town. There's a lot of kids going too. So he knows about these old style motels. They just don't cut it anymore. He backed people that want to spend millions to renovate stagnant motels on the downward slide, and they're going to invest a lot of money in it and bring it back to a standard where they can rent rooms. It would be helping the restaurants across the street because yet those people all have to eat too. Now, I'm not sure that they're going to go to these restaurants all the time. I mean, that costs money and they're going to cook in their own room, but they will certainly support some of the business along there. And they got to go to the grocery stores. They'll probably end up at some fast food joints. They'll need gas for their car if they have a car and other necessities they need, which will be right along the Lundy's Lane corridor. There's all of that and more. Kerrio also explained how difficult it is to get loans for motels, whether it is to build them or upgrade them, refurbish them. It isn't there for motels, but it is there for residential builds. He also said that if you ask the BIAs in the area, they're happy to take a dilapidated property, making Lundy's Lane look crappy, and refurbish it and improve the area. Turning a slum-looking stretch of Lundy's Lane with blown-out buildings and everything, guess what? To a nice modern buildings like they're going to build on the corner of Beaver Dams and Lundy's Lane. Kerrio knows. I mean, if you remember, Vince Kerrio took the old El Rancho Motel next to the Cataract Bowling Alley owned by the Bymonts. He bought it from the Bymont family and turned it into what is now Lundy Manor. And he said it was the only thing we could do. We couldn't survive in the motel business. They were dying a death at that point in time. And as the ones that remained moved along through the 80s and 90s, they just became basically rooms for the homeless, boarding houses, if you will. And he said that basically hotels are the way to go now, and they should be built closer to the tourist areas where they have the chance to be more successful. Of course, Mona Patel knows everything, and she knows way more than anybody else. And she argued that although she agrees with Kerrio, we're not doing it properly, we're not planning it. But I thought about that. And you know what? I think she has a point. I'm not a big Mona Patel fan. Everybody knows that. I don't say I don't hide that at all. But in this case, I have to say that Mona has it right. Councillor Patel has it pretty well right. We've seen unfettered development in this city with the influx of people coming down the QEW and offshore people. We're seeing unpassable, dangerous roads at certain times of the day due to poor infrastructure planning. You need the infrastructure to accommodate the development and expansion of this city. I mean, we went from 80,000 to 110,000 pretty quick. Now, the CEO, Jason Burgess, the Penguin, disagrees with her. He says that Lundy's Lane is an area of concentration the city has planned for. We could take that away as far as what might be some kind of the impacts from hotel conversions because that's what the market is kind of dictating and that bring that back. Now that's double talk. I don't even know what he's saying there. We can take that away as far as what might be some of the impacts from hotel conversions because that's what the market is kind of dictating and bring that back. Does anybody understand that? It must be some kind of CAO lingo because it's kind of double talk. The thing is, in my view, the province wants more housing. They've dictated that. They've put a number on it. They want 8,000 in Niagara Falls. They give you money for that. The city needs more housing. We know that. We see all these refugees, 5,000 of them maybe living in hotels down in the tourist area. We see people on the street homeless. We know we need more housing. And having housing along Lundy's Lane with all the amenities that it has makes sense. I mean, what's old is new. Remember, Lundy's Lane used to be all houses. Yeah, when I went to high school a long time, a long time ago, most of Lundy's Lane. I mean, you had Lundy's Lane School where the McDonald's is, and there was houses all the way down, except for maybe the Cairncroft. There was houses all the way down there, right down, all where the Kentucky Fried Chicken is, all right down each side. You had the Bond Villa. You had houses. They built that plaza probably where Zeller's used to be. That plaza there where No Frills is probably maybe in the 50s, late 50s or something like that. It's not that old, believe it or not. But yeah, it was all houses. So we're going back to that. Only, nobody wastes land anymore to build single family units on land like Lundy's Lane. They go up. They build apartment buildings or condominiums that hold 150 people, not just 4 or 5 families. So we're getting back to our roots, turning rundown motels into housing. How about that? I mean, yeah, and Vince Kerrio gets it. Thank you, Vince. It was great to see somebody stand up and understand the situation. It was awesome. Thanks to Ray Spiteri for the great article in the review, Ace Writer for the review. So yeah, so fantastic. Good for him. And Mona, she has a point. We've seen Thoroldstone Road and Dorchester Road. What a nightmare that is. We've seen Morrison Street in Dorchester. What a nightmare that is. We've seen all these plazas and houses and everything go up without a plan how to deal with traffic. And now we have it. And it's a nightmare when you have to drive around the city in those places. And a lot of it has to do with just ways to make travel more efficient, turning lanes, not being able to make left-hand turns. There's a ways to alleviate the problems of traffic. I mean, if you plan for it, but it doesn't look like we've been the best at planning. So kudos to Mona Patel, Councillor Patel as well, for seeing that, and she has a point. Okay, so oh boy, City Council again. We see this issue of graffiti come up, and Mayor Jim still doesn't get it. He doesn't get the broken window theory. I don't know how many times I got to tell him. Well, maybe he doesn't listen. That's why I got to keep telling him. He's not listening to me. What do I know? I'm just a big dummy over here behind the radio. I told him the graffiti problem in the city, like you can't solve the broken window theory. Can someone give him a lesson on the broken window theory before he drives me nuts? Maybe I have to get Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York City, on the show to explain it to him. Okay, for the last time, Mayor Jim, the broken window theory is not to replace broken windows. No, it's to arrest the perps immediately to show that if you break windows, you're going to jail. That's how you stop others from breaking windows. You don't fix them, they'll just come back and break them again. What you do is arrest the people that are breaking them, and you give them a $5,000 or $10,000 fine. And if it's painful enough to throw a rock and break a window, then they're not going to do it anymore. The pain of paying for that broken window is going to be greater than the fun it is to break the window. That's the way you got to do it. That's the way you got to do it. That's the broken window theory. You break one window, pay a $5,000 fine. All your dummies around you that do this kind of crap, they're going to say, geez, I don't want to get pinched. I don't want to have to pay $5,000 or do time in jail in lieu of paying. So I'm just not going to do it. Or I'm going to go to some city that doesn't have those strict rules. Capiche? You capiche? Jimmy, you're Italian. Capiche? And the same thing goes for graffiti. These guys start painting up these things. They're not artists, graffiti art. They're not artists. Who said that? I think Chris Riga said they're not artists. They put these squiggles on there. They mean nothing to anybody but their gang, the gang that do this stuff. That's not art. It's just crap. It's vandalism. So what you have to do is if you clean it up immediately, all you've done is given them a fresh canvas to paint on. And when others see there's no punishment, well, they'll just add to it. They'll continue on. Something like 239 places where this crap is sprayed on boxes and utility boxes and buildings and everything else. And the only way to stop it is to arrest these people. I don't care if you have to start putting cameras here and there or getting businesses around there to look at their cameras, see if you can find these guys. Round up the usual suspects. Once the person that's charged that did it gets pinched and charged, the other ones will stop doing it. Now, they can spend their $15,000 they've committed to this to clean up stuff up. But it's not going to stop. Without penalties, they're just going to continue. What do these guys care? You wrap it, you can wrap it, you can slap it, you can frap it. It doesn't matter. Once you've got a fresh canvas, they're painting. It's just vandalism. I mean, they can call it what they want, graffiti. It's vandalism. They're vandalizing somebody else's property. So now, Mayor Jim can actually look up the broken window theory and see how it works. Maybe we can solve this problem. And nobody will stand up and tell him. Mayor Jim, that's not how broken window theory works. Cleaning it up, that doesn't work. You give him a fresh canvas. I wish he would stop it. He's driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. So you got to arrest these guys. Fine them big. That's the end of the story. That's it. That's your cure. That's your cure. All righty. What else we got here on this Friday? There's lots to yell about. I can yell about stuff for another hour probably, but I'm not gonna. I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna get out of here on time or early today, maybe even. It's Friday. I got things to do. I got a plan. I got big things coming up this month and then into next month. Mother's Day. How about that? Mother's Day on Monday. Or no, on Sunday. I forgot about that. Mother's Day. Hey, my mother's going to be 100 this summer, August 4th. She's going to be 100. I'm going to go see my mother for sure on Mother's Day. 99 years old. She asked me what I do for work. What are you doing for work? I'm retired. You're retired? How old are you? I tell her, and she goes, how old am I? I said, you're old. You're 99. But God bless her. She's in great health and doing well and has a sense of humor. I sit and play cribbage with her, and she usually kicks my ass. So she can still count, and she knows how to play the game. She might not know exactly where she is sometime, but she knows the cards, I'll tell you that. But good for her. It's always fun going to see her, and I hope everybody who's going to go see their mother, if she's still around, if you're lucky enough to have your mother still around like me, I mean, I'd feel pretty blessed to have her around at 99, and hopefully she can make it to August 4th when it's her 100th birthday. But yeah, Mother's Day. Don't forget Mother's Day. I almost forgot that. Gee whiz. Yeah, you got to go see your mother. You got to go see your mother, and then, if she's still around. If not, sorry to hear about that. Sorry to hear about that. But yeah, so let's get to the posties here. We saw the posties go on strike right before Christmas. They thought they were going to hold us hostage. Oh yeah, people are going to be freaking out. They're not going to get their Christmas cards and their Christmas presents through the mail. They really thought that they were in essential service. Then all of a sudden they learned, ooh, we're not so essential. Nobody cared. Nobody ordered them back to work. Nobody cared. And then at a certain point, it didn't matter anymore anyway, because even if they went back to work, they wouldn't be able to get all the parcels out in that. So they sat there, and finally somebody, I don't know, had a talk with them, and they decided to go back to work. Somebody says they were forced to go back, but I don't think they were. I think what happened is they just went back because they found out, hey, we're never going to settle this. So what they do, after on strike for a couple months, standing around garbage cans behind the post office, keeping warm in November, whatever it was, they go back to work and never got a new contract and working under the same collective agreement they had before. And they said, we're going to do this till May, and then we're going to go on strike again. Well, May 22nd is coming up. That's the date they're going to go on strike again if they can't reach an agreement. So Lisa Liu, CP spokesman, Canada Post spokesperson, says The collective agreements, although extended until May 22nd, have not been settled yet. Their top priority remains reaching a new agreement that will help them serve the needs of Canadians while providing good jobs. But they are preparing for a number of potential outcomes, including the possibility of a strike. So, now a Canadian Union of Postal Workers spokesperson confirmed the union is still in talks with Canada Post to secure a new agreement. Now, Canada Post has lost $3 billion since 2018. It's basically broke. Canada Post is broke. The feds extended $1 billion temporary financial bridge to keep them going. But something has to be done to get the agreement on the table and to straighten out the fact that they're losing like crazy. Every day they're losing money. They're bleeding money. So they got to get an agreement on the table that's acceptable to both parties. CP Canada Post is getting worked over by other delivery services, and they want to extend their hours to include weekends using part-time workers. They say changes are needed to keep CP competitive with other delivery services, which is true. You're seeing them. They're being outperformed. The union claims that the corporation is pushing for serious rollbacks that would gut the existing agreement, explode part-time and temporary work, and undermine the full-time jobs. The battle continues, but one thing I know, the post office is going the way of the dodo, going the way of the milkman, the bread man, the iceman, sorry about that, John Ringo Beam, and the coal man. The strike taught people how to do without them. That's all it did. It showed people how to get along without them. You want to pay your tax bill? You go online. You want to pay your utility bills? You go online. You want to do anything, transfer money, e-transfer money, transfer from one account to the other, you go online and do it. So these things like the post office and the postal carriers, they're going the way of the dodo. The one guy said it best. I didn't even know they were on strike until I didn't get my Kentucky Fried Chicken coupons, and that's the way it is. So at the end of the day, they really aren't needed anymore, and they're going to find that out. And I think maybe within 10 years, maybe less, that you're not even going to see a postal system. I don't think you're going to see it. We'll see if they come up with an agreement by May 22nd, but every time they go on strike, it's another nail in their coffin. It's another nail in their coffin. More people find out they don't need them. And the young people, forget about it. They don't even use it, the post office anymore. Snail mail, putting a stamp on me. Are you kidding me? They don't do that. They don't do that. It's texting and emailing and everything else. Hey, I owe you $10. I'll just e-transfer it to you. Bum, 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 bum. There's no sending checks or anything. The government's still the only one that sends checks, and the banks won't even cash them. This wacky world we live in. Okay, let me get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. You know, in 1948, Hamel Machine Company opened their doors, and they've been serving small business in Niagara Falls for all these years. What is that? 70 years? 75 years? Yeah, they've been around serving small industry in Niagara Falls, or just a regular guy who goes in with a problem, something's broken, it needs to be welded, needs to be turned on a lathe, it needs to be machined, whatever, it doesn't matter. They've always been there, and not only have they been there for small guys, homeowners, help them out, they've been there for big industry and small industry. Hamel Machine Company is not only a place that fixes things, they innovate, they make them better. They take a part or a machine that's being used for a certain purpose, and then they take it and they improve it. Saves time. When you save time, you save money. Today, time is money. And also, I mean, if you have to order parts from Germany or wherever these machines are made today, you got to wait 6-8 weeks. Who knows how much? These guys can re-engineer a part for you if they can't fix it. You're done in 2 or 3 days. You can get your part back and you're back in business. You don't lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in production. Hamel Machine Company, that's what they do best. Go to hamelmachine.ca. You'll see the tremendous work they do for the wineries around here, for the agricultural product section of that industry, and also for places like Rich Products. They make them more efficient, they make them better at the job they do. That's what Hamel Machine Company does. I'm telling you, go to their website. It'll blow your mind what they do. I never realized what they do. It's just amazing. And if you need something done for yourself, give them a call. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Support our local industry since 1948 because they support the city and have been doing it for a long time. Hamel Machine Company, give them a call if you need anything done. Okay, let's do another whatever happened to. I love whatever happened to's because everybody comes up with these big schemes and they're going to be billionaires. They're going to make millions of dollars. It's something that everybody needs. You can't do without. And they come up with these brilliant schemes, and 9 times out of 10, they've been thought of before. I mean, they're not innovators. They're just doing it going to try to do it a different way and make money. Well, that's what happened with the hovercraft. Yep, remember those hovercrafts that were supposed to haul people and freight across Lake Ontario to Toronto? And I said that 4 years ago, 3 years ago or whatever. Ain't gonna work. This has been tried how many times with hydrofoils and I don't know, jet powered aircraft. Who knows what the hell? They have so many schemes and not one of them work. None of them work. Boats, no. None of them work because they're not convenient. Well, the one that started about 4 years ago, these hovercrafts, well, they're not dead yet. The same company that started it out 4 years ago, claiming that by 2023 they would be taking people across the lake, well, they're at it again. They've secured a long-term lease for the Niagara part of their operation because the hovercraft has to dock somewhere here, and now they've secured a part they were stuck on, and that is something on the Toronto side. They've recently secured a 30-year deal with Ports Toronto on a new landing pad connected to Billy Bishop Airport in the harbor's Western Gap. Passengers would wait in a covered area next to the air terminal. So there you go. I mean, this is good news, right? Well, hold on for a minute. It's a fleet of 2 hovercraft, which have yet to be built. They're not even built yet. They're anticipated to hold 180 passengers each and be able to cross the lake in 30 minutes. They say they don't anticipate starting the trips for another 3 years. Well, yeah, the hovercraft aren't even built yet. I'd say it's going to be at least 3 years. But that's what they said 3 years ago. The rates, well, back then they're starting up. It was going to be about a $60 round trip for people. But we know what's happened to prices over the last 3 years. So that will probably go up in the next 3 years before they even get them going. They claim they will move about 8,000 cars a day from the QEW. So their service is going to take 8,000 cars a day off the QEW. That's some pretty wild math right there. That's some pretty 180 passengers every 30 minutes. I didn't figure out the math, but they'd have to have those things full of people that want to go to Toronto, land at Billy Bishop, and then somehow get into the city to work or get into the city to visit. And then they have to run them at the times that are convenient for people. Oh, yeah, I want to go to a Blue Jays game at night. Well, the hovercraft's going to be crossing that lake at night. Oh, I want to go to work in the morning, but I got to get a ride home. What time do you run? Well, we run at 6 o'clock at night. I mean, I got to sit around for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, the logistics are tough. They're very tough. So 8,000 cars a day they're going to remove from the QEW seems a little high to me. Well, maybe a lot high to me. Not only that, previously they said that the way they were going to make money is by taking cargo. Yeah, we're not worried about the passengers as much as we are about cargo. We can make lots of money from cargo. Yeah, well, that's great, but cargo doesn't own cars. So you're not going to be taking any cars off if you're hauling a lot of cargo. You know what? Every single attempt of this sort has failed. Every single one. There hasn't been one that's been successful. One's running from the States, one's running from Canada. Whatever happened to the daily flights that were supposed to transport people back and forth from Niagara District Airport? Remember that one? Oh yeah, they're gonna have flights every day. You go to Toronto, $30. Every commuter's gonna take them. Are they even still running? Another great idea, but I don't even think they're running anymore. I mean, I don't hear anything about them. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh yeah, I take a flight every day." I mean, the problem is a gridlock and all. It doesn't matter. People would rather drive. It's more convenient when they get there. They can leave when they want. They can come and go as they please. They don't have to deal with transfers or schedules. They get there, go to work, and get home as fast as possible with the traffic. And, you can call me cynical. Go ahead, call me cynical, but I've never seen one work. And this hasn't even worked, and it's not, they don't even have the crafts built. Never mind crossing the lake with paying passengers. I think probably in about 3 years, I'll be doing another whatever happened to, and I'll be reporting that, um, oh well, it didn't work out. They tried, they had a great idea, they couldn't put it together, and that'll be that. So I love these great ideas. They're great for the area, but I just don't think they're feasible. Not now, anyway. Not yet. I don't think they can have enough trips and they can afford to run these things. They got to be big money to buy, big money to run. That's a big nut to crack. And who's got money to give you now? You heard Vince Kerrio say that they won't invest in motels and stuff anymore. A lot of people don't invest in this kind of stuff. They've been burned too many times, right? So good luck to them. Good luck, Hovercraft Company. I hope you make it, but I don't know. I was giving odds. I'd say I would give them maybe 25 to 1 that they make it. Something like that, maybe more. So I'm looking at the TV, and what's coming out of a smokestack at the Vatican? White smoke. And the new pope is from the USA. Imagine that right when Trump is changing the world, they elect a US pope. I wonder if the Trump effect came into play on this. Especially white smoke liberals that don't like JD Vance. I mean, they don't like JD Vance, these guys, this pope. Well, I think this guy, Pope Leo the 14th, Pope Woke the 14th, is going to continue the legacy of the last pope, which a lot of Catholics, the conservative ones anyway, they didn't like at all. They didn't like the way he ran it at all, his liberalism and everything else. Now, Laura Loomer, who the uber left-wing USA Today considers a conspiracy theorist, okay, but remember, today's conspiracy theorist is tomorrow's truth. It always is. Calls Pope Leo an anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, pro-open borders, and total Marxist like Pope Francis. Others call this pick a very calculated move. They chose a globalist, much like Canada did, and woke Pope from the West on purpose to stand up and criticize the leaders of the free world. Others said, sorry, Catholics, the new Pope is an open border globalist. He will be pushing for abortions soon. So there's a lot of comments that aren't really happy about this Pope pick. Pope Leo the Woke. The Vatican calls him the 14th. My buddy, Father Leo. What'd you get a promotion, Father Leo? This guy is touted as being the one to forward the ideology of Francis. That's what they're saying. Well, according to Nostradamus, he's the last pope before the return of Jesus to straighten the world out. And looking around, it needs it. The Pope is dead. Long live the Pope. New Pope, Pope Leo the 14th. Hey, we're going to see. Remember Pope on a rope? Remember when they brought that out? Pope on a rope? I don't know if it was Pope Paul or John Paul. They had him on a rope, like a soap. A soap thing carved out, and they called it Pope on a rope. Okay, well, let's end this week. Let's end this show off with these crazy Houthis. You know, these Houthis, I love watching these. They always bomb things, then they get the hell knocked out of them. Now, the crazy Houthis have apparently given up. They're waving the white flag. They've had enough. They are done with bombing ships and attacking U.S. warships. They're calling for an end to the war with the U.S., and it looks like shipping will open in the Red Sea and Suez Canal again. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It was costing millions and millions of dollars to go around Africa to get into the Mediterranean for Europe or get across the Atlantic to North America and South America. Trump says the U.S. will stop the bombings against the Houthis after the Houthis told the U.S. they didn't want to fight anymore. So Trump says, fine, we'll stop the bombings, but any action by the Houthis that break the peace will be met with overwhelming force. Now, these Houthis can't be trusted. We know that. They say they're going to stop, and then all of a sudden they'll attack another ship. And they've said that although they will stop the attacks on the U.S. and ships in the Red Sea, they said they're going to continue to attack Israel until the Israeli military in Gaza has ended. Trump says he's going to deal with that when it comes to fruition. A lot of threats. Sometimes they don't do it. And when it happens. So they have been shooting missiles into Israel. So they're unbelievable. These guys, they don't, they're all funded by Iran and that, so but they're going to get wiped out if they keep it up. Trump doesn't play around with these people. He's not playing around. So they better learn. They better sing. We'll see what happens over the weekend if they stop the bombing and stuff. But if not, they're going to get they're going to get ruined. Crazy Houthis. I love reading about them. I love watching them. They got more balls than anyone. They got more balls than Kamala Harris. Okay, and that's it for the week. I'm done. It's been a long week. It's been a long week this week. Too many things going on and more to come as we enter what looks like a beautiful weekend. Good luck to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Florida. They're up 2-0 on the series. They're going into Florida. My prediction is if they can win one game, they're going to win the series. If they lose both, look out. Florida's back. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you for the comments, Gary, Iceman 881, and Iceman 69, and just John and Gary. What the heck's his thing? I forgot. I forgot his thing. What the heck? I say it every day almost, and I forgot what the heck is the code is there. His handle. What the heck is it? I'm losing my mind. 881 Slick. There you go. I saw a couple more too lately, so I'll be talking about them on Monday. A lot of them have to do with the incident with Mike Strange. Anyway, that's it for me today. Have a good weekend. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Hamill Machine Company, and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. I'll be back on Monday with Manic Monday at noon. God bless you all. Please support our sponsors. They support the city. They support the show. Take it easy. I'm out of here. Adios. 4680Q Radio. Talk to you Monday at noon. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.